Hi everyone, this is Veronica. Today we are going to talk about a report about disasters. This report is the Face of Disasters 2019 report. So it was recently published. We'll discuss the details of this report. To connect with me, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook for the video updates as well. So this is a channel StudyIQ. If you're preparing for any government exam, our pen drive and tablet courses are also available. For additional information, you can call on these numbers or you can visit our website too. The PDF of this lecture will be available on our website in both the languages, Hindi and English. Now, what is the relevance of this topic for your exam? Now, see in mains paper 3 where the portion of disaster management is there, it will be covered there. Objective level, you should know the main things about this report, the Face of Disasters 2019 report. At subjective level, what are the multiple facets of disasters in India and their effective management, how we can manage well and deal with the disasters or the natural calamities. Now, why it is in news? Because this report was released by SEEDS recently. It is published by SEEDS. So here the full form is Sustainable Environment and Ecological Development in Society. Very important from your prelims point of view. The report released by SEEDS as a part of 25th anniversary. So it was the 25th anniversary, and here they have done an analysis of what were the past trends of the disasters which came, and looking at these disasters from a wider perspective, then how can we deal with them, how we can effectively manage the consequences of this disasters. That is the main objective of this report. And the report here talks about the need to look at the disaster vulnerabilities that actually lie under the radar waiting to strike. Now we'll talk about this organization SEEDS. That is very important because in prelims, who has published this report is very important. Now see, SEEDS, the Sustainable Environment and Ecological Development Society. It is a non-profit voluntary organization. It is a collective endeavor of young professionals drawn from development of related fields. So basically, when it started, it originated as an informal group of like-minded persons who they're getting together for the purpose of creative research projects of academic interest. But later, this particular group was formalized in 1994, and they have been active in this field ever since. Now, what they do, their activities, they are actually involved in research activities, in community development, in disaster management, environment planning and transport planning, and urban and regional planning, like this. So activities which they carry out, it is on a behalf of government, or whether it is semi-government or international development agencies, and independent programs on these vital issues are also taken up. So this is the importance, this is how their organization works and their objectives are fulfilled. Now we'll talk about the critical key areas of this report, because the complexity of disasters today, it requires a proactive and multi-pronged approach. So we'll discuss how they have done the past trend analysis and how they have come up with 8 key areas. So first here is, okay, before telling you that, listen, this Face of Disasters report, among other topics, it talks about there's a need to look at the vulnerabilities. Now, considering the experiences of the years gone by, there will be impacts that continue to magnify under the radar. So, access to rapidly depleting water. So, the main 2 things were water depleting, water crisis in short you can say, or water resources which are depleting. And next was heat stress also, which we are dealing with, these being 2 most prominent. Now other 8, again the water and the changing nature of disaster risk. That means a new normal for rainfall variability is bringing challenges of too much and too little water, which is often in parallel, because both the things are bad. If there is too much water, there will be floods. If too little water, there will be drought. No disaster is natural. Obviously, anthropogenic activities these days are causing them, most of them at least, except the earthquakes and others. Now risks lurking under the radar slip through the cracks because they don't meet the idea of natural disaster. There are many silent events also, the disasters that go unseen, leave those affected at even greater risk. Land becomes water, so the disaster that Here we are particularly talking about the disaster. For example, changes to the coastlines are already affecting livelihood sources and will be hotspots for vulnerability in the future. The complexity of disaster impact. So beyond official damages, the long-term and uncaptured disaster impacts have life-changing consequences for affected communities, because see, here the complexity of, because in official data very less figures are shown, so actually we can never analyze clearly and correctly how many people have been affected, could be affected, and what is the consequence and how we can deal with it. This is one of the drawback. There is an urban imperative also, like risk is rapidly urbanizing and it will affect everyone. Then transformations in the third pole, because Himalayan glaciers are melting with serious implications for the whole region. Then planning for what you can't see is also important, because now see, earthquake risk is looming large under the radar, but are we prepared? Because there rest many other disasters like floods, excessive rainfall, drought, cyclones that could be predicted, but this one can't even be predicted. Now see, we'll talk about India in 2018, because we have seen lot of things going on in India, like almost every type of disaster we have seen in India 2018, whether if there are floods, droughts, heat, cold waves, or etc. Earthquakes have been coming, but they were at very lower Richter scale. So you can take a screenshot of this picture. It just summarizes the year of disasters in India 2018. In Jan, you can see there was a cold wave. In Feb, you can see hailstorms. March, likewise till December, cyclone, drought. And seeds, it has compiled it in very good points. There are 4 points: too much and too little water, changing rainfall patterns, growing complexity, creeping or unseen. So this is very important from exam. It will help you in mains also. So now we'll talk about what is the significance of this report. Now see, analysis of the past trends, they show us that 2019 will see unusual flooding as well as heat waves and drought that are already ongoing. The complexity of disasters today, it requires a proactive and multi-pronged approach. A single mega disaster can wipe out hard-won development gains, and it can recurrent small-scale stresses that keep vulnerable families in a cycle of poverty. So many families, they are trapped in this vicious cycle of poverty. Then while this multiple event pattern is repeated every year, only a few really capture the public attention. Other risks continue to intensify under the radar. So how this is how it's going to help us, because we have analyzed these factors well. Now there could be way forward also, because current trends are reinforcing that disasters have multiple phases and complexities that we discussed. 2018 also, India witnessed nearly every type of natural hazard: floods, droughts, cyclones, hailstorms, etc. So this poses some critical questions also and issues, and also points to risk that actually lie ahead of us as a country. At the core of the idea that disasters cannot be seen in isolation anymore, because they are interconnected. If there is a problem in climatic change, most probably there will be a disaster. If man is doing development activities, not caring about the environment and ecological balance, there could be a disaster. So we cannot see disaster as an isolated factor. So there is a clear need for comprehensive understanding of risk. We need to understand the risk. Hyper-localized plans should be there, and allocation of resources, like where the distribution of resources, how the distribution of resources should be done to reduce these disasters. This is how we can move forward with the disaster management. So this is all about today's lecture. If you have any queries, you can contact me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.